Anyway, we'll talk about those in just a few minutes. But I think all coaches and all teams, 300 plus Division I teams in the country, it's an exciting time to always start the season, starting on Friday. And before I get into that and talk a little bit about our team, a couple guys I want to introduce. First, make note that Stephen Head, one of our former coaches, great player here, left about 2 months ago to take on a scouting job with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And so we moved one of our director of operations, Mark McMillan, into Stephen's role as a coach on the field, along with Mike Clement that returns from last year in his second year, and Carl Lafferty as our recruiting coordinator and pitching coach. I will talk a little bit about the team, and as Adam said, talk about the news this morning. One of the things that I've been saying, I think probably for the last 3 or 4 months when asked about this year's team, is it seems like last year's weaknesses may be this year's strengths. And what I mean by that is, last year, as much as probably even a year ago, sitting in front of this microphone, I wanted to believe that we returned a good group of kids from the 2014 team that went to the College World Series. The truth of the matter is, we returned 3 freshmen that really were outstanding as freshmen, but were in totally a different role. And but now when I look at those guys, they're not freshmen or just starting their sophomore years now. Now they're juniors. And when I look at the position players, Adam put in, I think, the media guide that we returned 7 of the starting 9. But the truth of the matter is, on opening day, the 10 guys more than likely that'll be in the lineup, including the pitcher, would have all started last year. And so we're as old and experienced as we probably have ever been, as a position player group. And then, last year, one of the weaknesses was our pitching depth. And after, a few injuries, I think that was quite evident, that we just showed our lack of depth on the mound. And we fixed that with the signing of 11 pitchers in this current recruiting class that's on campus right now. And I believe that's the most that we've ever signed in one recruiting class. So we're excited about that. I'll start with the position players, kind of going around the horn, starting at third base. We returned Colby Bortles at third. Colby started just about every single game last year at third base. After a freshman year where he really came on the scenes as a star in postseason, but last year took over the third base position and played as well as defensively as I can remember anybody playing defense here at third base. In my tenure, hit 7 home runs. We returned him at third. At shortstop, Errol Robinson starts this year for his 3rd straight year. A lot of preseason accolades, preseason All-American, was voted by the scouting directors of professional baseball as the #1 college shortstop in the country. And I think you always feel good when you return guys on the left side of the infield like Colby and Errol. At second base, Tate Blackman. Tate's coming off a tough freshman year where just a year ago, I think we were up here talking about his preseason accolades before he even stepped on the field as a college baseball player. It was a tough year for Tate, but has swung it as well as anyone in the fall and in early spring, and just very proud of him. Proud of the way he's handled himself, proud of the way he's come back his sophomore year and expecting to have a big year. At first base, we have Will Golson that'll start opening day. Will, a little different than Sykes Orvis at first, but excited to have somebody as athletic as Will. We've already seen it in such a short period of time on the field. His athleticism, the way he can play defense, move around. I think it's just going to add to one of the things I think we'll talk about all year is how well we can really defend and how athletic this team is. Will had a great season for us offensively last year. Batted in the 3-hole a lot for us last year as a true freshman. Behind the plate, Henry Lurtigue I think is ready to have a monster year. Had a great fall for us. Swung it statistically as well as anybody on the team. Bats from both sides of the plate. Really can throw and handles the pitchers well. Very intelligent. Very easy for me to communicate with the signals and whatnot. So excited for Henry behind the plate. In the outfield, not exactly sure. I'm assuming in the first weekend we'll have several different lineups, and including a couple different rotations of outfielders out there. But look for Connor Cloyd to start in left field at least a couple of the games. Connor was our leading hitter from last year. Goes into his senior year. A guy that can really handle the bat from the left side. Good runner. In center field, JB Woodman. JB was a freshman All-American a couple years ago, and it's amazing. People act like JB didn't have that good a year last year. I look back at his stats, and he hit 7 home runs, and just a super athlete. But he's probably, when people ask about improvement and who to look for this year, when I look at JB, he's probably played as well as anybody of the position players consistently from the beginning of the fall to right now, and excited, and I think he's going to have a big year for us. And in right field, we return Cameron Deshawn. Cam had a good year for us last year, stole around 20 bases, and I think he's got a chance to, playing every day, got a shot to steal even more bases, possibly get into that 30 range. Also, guys, to look for, true freshman from St. Louis, DJ Miller. DJ is one of these guys that when he came on, and last year we got to this point where we started Kyle Watson, I think, on opening day.